Welcome dear students of another part of our class, standard 7th subject English. Today we will start the second lesson, the ants come marching. If you see in the earlier activity, ants can lift 20 times their body weight. So characteristics we'll see. तो है ना, आप अगर 1 किलो के हैं और आप 20 किलो का वजन उठा सकते हो, ants कर सकती है वो. Then some ants sleep 7 hours a day. Ants lived along dinosaurs. Dinosaurs थे तब से वो ना they are living. Then ants cannot smell. No, they can. And ants have lungs. Yes, they have. So here we can see many characteristics and features of ants are there. You must have also seen ants crawling in your house at that time. You must be amused. So here you will see that the experiment which is conducted by in the form of a story to tell you is something our history of human life or human beings is very far away, thousands and thousands of years before, and ants lived during times of dinosaur. But only 200 years before, we have actually scientifically understood what ants are, how they do their activities, how they survive, what they do to make the life easy, make the life worth living, or the periphery of what the ants can do, cannot do, how they do. All these things in the form of experiment you will understand here. But you will come to know that this particular experiment conducted by Benjamin Franklin, who was a scientist and we can say an artist. He was also a printer, inventor, and many good qualities he had, and he is one of the America's first initial stage who were leaders. That type of a person he was, and he, like us, thought inquisitive. He was a scientist who is inquisitive. How these ants will do this and that. That he wanted to know, and therefore how he experimented we will see over here. I have often wondered whether ants have some way to tell other ants that there's work to be done. So if a work to be done is to be done, how your mother tells you, okay, go down and get me something, or come to eat food, then you come, your mother speaks and you react that way, right? Or your father gives you instructions, or friends talk to you, and but ants don't talk. Then also they do the work. How come that happens? So even this thing had in mind who? Benjamin Franklin, 200 years before. You may think so too. If you have watched the ant you must have watched carrying a grasshopper, very big sized grasshopper they are carrying, or even you must have seen a crumb of cake, sweet things they like, It struggles for a while and then dashes away. Initially it becomes very difficult to observe it minutely. Earlier big thing, they cannot drag. But eventually they come to know how to do it and how to take it and drag it and howl it up. That they know with the help of the other ants, or by itself, it will do or put an effort that will help to howl up or carry up the much more heavier thing than what a person can say. Ant is very small, but such a big crumb of cake, or even a grasshopper, such a big grasshopper can be taken away by the ant. So initially struggles, but then dashes away and successfully takes away the food. So this way we see, ants do hard work by, lifting things which are heavier. What's more, you may have noticed that when two ants meet, they stop. Two ants, they cross each other, they raise their antenna. Then touch each other's antenna. As if they are saying hello. Sometimes they even seem to kiss the antennas. More than 200 years ago, Benjamin Franklin, as I told you, had also the same type of queries in his mind. Okay, how ants complete their work, how they do it, was also part of his confusion. So as I told you, he done an experiment and found an answer. Scientists always they prove through experiment. Something happening, it doesn't happen out of the blue. Scientists want proof. You have studied the evaporation of water or distillation of water. So that experiment of distillation takes place any number of time. Make the experiment in any part of the country or any part of the world, you will get that same result of the experiment. The conclusion will be the same, that the water will become vapor and it will rise up and get collected in the form of gas. The solid will convert into gas. This experiment, like that, Benjamin Franklin did an experiment with ants also. Ants, how he did an experiment? It's very simple. We have seen him as when conducting a test. Below that, the paragraph I told you how Benjamin Franklin was a great expert in various fields. So here the experiment which is given. First, I will explain you in a simple way. Now, Benjamin Franklin, one day in his kitchen, he saw a jar of molasses. Molasses is what? Good. गुड़ होता है ना, वो स्वीट होने की वजह से चींटियाँ सब उसके ऊपर चढ़ जाती है. The whole this jar is filled with the ants. Benjamin Franklin comes and sees that my molasses is getting infected by this pest. So he removed all that. And after removing all these ants, one ant still remained inside. One ant still remained inside. Other ants, he was able to, remove them, but one still remained. Now, Benjamin Franklin got a chance to, do an experiment. He wanted to know that if I set a challenge to this ant, so how they communicate, that I will be able to know how the ants communicate. So what he did, he took this jar, took it to the ceiling, tied a thread to it, and with the nail on the ceiling, he hung that particular jar that was filled with molasses. The ant inside is still there. This ant inside is still there. It is eating up nicely in its crop. And then after completing it tries to moves up and down the jar. It moves down and sees here when it got into this jar, there was a platform. So here the ant, when it comes out, he sees no platform over here. But then also he scampers here and there, zigzags over here in its movement, and then again moves up and gets the thread, moves up through the nail and through the ceiling. It moves down and it goes into the other room without getting to the notice where it has gone, and it vanishes. So understood till here how the jar was put over here to set a challenge to this ant, how the ant will move now. The ant has no other way. Benjamin Franklin in his experiment thought that it will be difficult for this ant to now get back to its team or to the swarm of ants. It wouldn't be able to get, he thought. But the ant did. And when he saw the ant moving away and vanishing away. So here, after Benjamin Franklin sat there for half an hour and saw that what the ants will do now. He wanted to come to know. He wanted to know that how the ants will now get to the jar. It's a very high place, and one ant has gone away. The one ant has gone. How it will give information? But it did. The ant gave the information, and after half an hour, whole swarm of whole team of these ants, they got into the jar. And after the team and other, we can say a lot of ants came over here and started eating the molasses, take it into the crop. Crop means the mouth. It ate the molasses. Then two lines were there. One line that went down, and the other line systematically through the same thread, it moved up and formed a row within which they were able to move and to their nest. So all this thing he observed. This single ant, when it moves down and calls these ants, Benjamin Franklin got a clue from this, that this particular ant, last ant, went there and it must have given some information to the other ants that there is molasses over here on the ceiling. Then only it was possible for all these ants to gather, and that gave a clue to Benjamin Franklin that ants definitely have communicated. Now, the later part, when you see here that the ants, how they did, we will see in the next our session. So this is the end of our session today. We shall continue with our subject on the next part of our class. Thank you.